We're back. Is that better without the echo? Let us know. I know there's a little bit delay. Sound better? Anybody? Test 1, 2. Echo's fixed. Okay, thanks. Who said that? Age of Empires, of course. Thanks, guys. So we'll start from the top because you guys didn't hear anything, and boy, you missed the biggest announcement we made. But now we're just gonna have to.
Yeah, we had like 5 people in here.
Yeah, so it was great. So my name is Mike Lesko. I'm the community manager on Project Spark, and I'm here with Henry Sturchy, who is the creative director.
Hi.
So we're going to go through. We want to just kind of make this a casual hangout. We got a lot of the team running around. They'll be jumping in. We want to show you some stuff from Project Spark. Try to demo some of the things you want. Obviously, we got a lot of people in chat. We got a lot of things going on. So we'll do our best to kind of go through what we have. And
yeah, so I mean, Mike and I have been talking for a while about, you know, how could we hang out with you guys and show us some of the, and show you some of the way we built things in the demo and a little bit more detail around the tools. And we thought this would be a great way to do it. We're going to be pretty casual, and we're going to have some of the team come by. For those who visit Project Spark Hub, we'll have some of the people you may be familiar with and maybe introduce you to some new ones as well. But we want to start off by saying that, you know, spending a long amount of time making a game about making games, we were really excited and nervous by the E3 reveal, and we just want to thank everybody for all of the support and just the amazing comments and feedback, and we couldn't be more excited than we were before, and we really are. So thank you, everybody. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to launch. This is what we call as our blank slate mode. So you may have seen this. And Project Spark is an open world digital canvas that allows you to create your own games, stories, worlds, and share them with everyone.
Somebody said major eye contact. I'm just trying to
trying
to give the community what they want.
That's kind of the person you are. So we're going to be playing on Windows 8 with an Xbox controller. So we're going to show you some of the controller stuff you may not have seen. So here's what we call our blank slate world, and this is one of the ways into our world. You may have also seen Crossroads, and we have a bunch of different ways to begin creating. But you know, we're going to start off here, and we're going to go through some of the basics. The first thing you'll see here is, you know, that we can sculpt. I'm not really sure what I should make here, so I'm looking for some inspiration if anybody has any cool ideas of what we can do. Somebody said maybe something like this. I don't know if that's a good idea, but we'll go with a U-shaped hill. That sounds like a good default. So let me ask you guys, on a serious note, we talked about maybe telling you why we do the U-shaped hill. But I love conspiracy theories. I've seen some of the cool ones on the sites. Do you even want to know why we actually do this?
I mean, you know, it could be better to keep it a mystery. I'm just saying.
It could be. Well, we've seen some yeses. Yes, yes.
Seen some yeses.
Okay, so it's not as exciting as some of the conspiracy theories, but in general, we really wanted to highlight and show the touch. So if you think about it, it's really comfortable to sort of do this motion on touch. And we wanted to show how easy and simple and fun it is just to drag your finger across the screen and make something. The shape of the hill and kind of its height and depth, that also allows us to show that we do a lot more than just height map editing, because we really wanted to show the world that we can do real true 3D editing. So I'm going to introduce you to a little bit of the tools. Right now what I'm using is what we call expand. And what expand does is you go over to a spot in the world and you're actually able to raise up that location. So you can see here, I can just expand these areas. I can also scale my brush, make it bigger, expand really large areas, or I can go ahead and set the intensity of the brush. So you'll see here, I'm at 100%, and here I'm at 0. So with 0 intensity, you can see we have the ability to do things like in scaling the brush down, we can do things like really, really fine movements around what we actually want to be able to raise. And we can very quickly go ahead and switch that, and then you can see we can raise really strong spots. So that was some of the thought behind it and showing off some of the expand. The other thing we can do here that we're showing is we can actually roll back at any point in analog, and we can actually show you some rewinding. So it's really cool because you really can't make a mistake, and if you want to just go ahead and erase some of the stuff that you did, you can just roll backwards. And that's something you can do anywhere at any time, and you know, be really easy and free to just play around and do different stuff.
So Brad Schuber is calling you out, saying that we really need an artist down here because he does not like what you're doing. So
we do, and talking and drawing. You know, Schuber can come down and say hello too. So one of the things is you can see here this button that we have right now is the sculpting button. That's the third button down on the left. And I'm just going to give you a quick idea. Your main tools are on the left side of the screen, and then you've got some other options on the right, and then below you've got sort of your gallery and your toolbox. So if you look on the left, right now we're on the sculpting tool, and you can see that button can rock back and forth. So what we can do very easily is instead of expand, we can erode. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to scale up the brush a little more, and I'm going to show you what we did at E3 is we started making the rivers. So we used our erode to make the river through the level really quickly. And it was a great way to show that example between expanding and eroding and going back and forth with the flow. Now one thing you'll notice is that by eroding we actually we're able to go through to the water. One of the things about the game is we didn't put in the water level is actually here, and you can actually control that. So very easily from the world settings you can quickly submerge your level or pull the water out of the level and go back and forth. And what you do by erode is just carve down enough into the water.
Are you going to make a waterfall? That's what people are saying.
We could do a waterfall. We do a waterfall with effects right now. So you can see we can go in here. We're skipping ahead of the demo, but we can go ahead to the effects library.
Actually, I didn't think you could do it. I was just trying to mess you up.
So we can jump in.
Great.
Now keep in mind this is our E3 build, so a lot of the stuff in here, some of it can be placeholder, some of it's not final obviously, but I'll go through real quick and
I hope you guys are screenshotting all this stuff.
We got some people here
revealed.
So you guys might recognize
rock and roll.
Yay!
Rock and roll.
So here's Claude
with the rock puns. Where you going? No, whoa, no, come over here and talk with it. Don't just walk away and do a drive-by. Claude, tell everybody what you do. Who are you?
Tell us a bit about what you do.
So I'm Claude. I'm one of the designers in the project. I work on a lot of the brain stuff you see, a lot of the combat and locomotion that you'll see in the game. I actually just did a community interview with the Reddit community recently, so you can check that out for some more details.
What's the name of the Reddit, the subreddit? What is that?
Oh, the Project Spark Hub. It's pretty amazing. You guys are awesome fans, and we're all watching. So
our Project Spark game. Just saying, little
you guys
plug
are awesome.
for those guys.
We're all watching. Keep it up.
Thanks, Claude.
Cool. Thanks for coming by. So. Here I've just thrown in some effects, and that simulates a waterfall effect. That's one of the ways to do it. One of the things about Project Spark 2 is that there's a lot of different ways to do things. So you saw there that I was able to make a river by carving down in the world. I actually have what you may have seen before, our biomes. There's actually a river brush within the biomes, and that actually paints in stuff with it, and that's one of the ways to make a river as well. So this is one of the ways to make a waterfall. I can add some effects and have the splash on the bottom of the waterfall, and a variety of things like that. So now that we have our little island here and we have that carved out, and we've showed you some of expand and some of erode, we started introducing some of the other tools. So again, trying to emphasize and highlight the ability to actually change this terrain in with real 3D, we have what we call here is our tunnel and our plateau brush. So here I can just very simply drag this brush right through, and it'll actually make a hole. The really cool thing about this brush is the way it works is it takes the lowest point right now and it actually carves out from there. So the opposite of this brush is the plateau, and one of the things you'll see here is it takes the point that I'm at and it carves out from there. And what that allows you to do is very quickly and easily do things around level design and stubbing in bridges and walkways and things like that. And again, I'll just kind of delete here just to keep with some of our E3 theme. So Brad's in here to give us some art feedback. So Brad's already here with art feedback.
Brad Schuber, the art director here on Project Spark.
And he is definitely to take credit for the U-shaped hills.
I know, it is my fault actually. I was the one who developed that demo and insisted that we made a tunnel through the middle of the U.
So what do you think here on a scale of 1 to 10? Where am I at? I've recovered a little.
The waterfalls are a nice touch. I believe that was suggested, though, from the community.
That may not have actually been my idea.
Community actually has the best ideas.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, I would agree. I think you are doing okay.
All right. So what's my next tip?
Your next tip?
Yeah.
What would you go from here to actually keep our audience engaged?
I would sculpt a giant tree stump out of terrain and then paint it with tree bark.
All right. That sounds like that'll be your demo. At some later date.
At some later date?
Okay.
I can do that right now.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
Control, go. Let's go.
All right, here we go.
Look at this. Now I'm going to fail miserably.
Oh, we can only hope.
So again, Brad's using the expand brush. And again, this is one of the ways to manipulate the terrain. There's a bunch of other ways. We'll go through some of those. the really cool thing about this is it's a very, very quick way to rapidly alter the terrain, but it can also be a really precise way, as we showed. So this is feeling kind of like a big giant mana of life tree. I can see it already.
See? A little hole down the middle.
Ah,
maybe a little
detailed.
spot. Maybe a little spot for
Now for the water to flow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Nice cool place for a little boathouse or something.
Cool.
Uh-oh, Eddie's coming.
We got
Eddie,
more
we're
guests.
making a tree.
I know. I just saw Schuer doing work, and I had.
We're making like that giant tree of life type of tree.
All right, let's see if I can really push the limits here.
So what Brad is doing here is he's going into our paint and our material, and he's going ahead and he's picking our kind of wooden bark material, and very simply and very easily, just similar to what you guys have seen before, just a push of a button applies the paint to the terrain. Now the really cool thing you're probably noticing, because we're using controller here, is you can see that circular outline within the sphere, and that's actually giving you a very finite view of what you're going to be painting. And you can obviously shrink the brush, make it more and less intense, but this also takes a lot of those sticky properties. So what we call sticky paint, you saw the paint was automatically wrapping around the edges, and it's just really fun, really easy to paint. When you start using touch, one simple motion allows you to paint a great deal of real estate or really finite areas. So we're adding in some layers here, so you've gone with some of the moss.
Yeah.
Cool. So that's the other thing that's really powerful about our paint, is that the materials can be applied in layers. So it's really easy to be able to do things like pathways, walkways on top of grass paths, and a lot of other stuff. Can you have floating land? Absolutely, you can have floating land.
All right, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, so we can do some
Wow.
floating land.
That was my 10-second tree demo.
All
That's
right,
pretty
that's a 10-second
impressive.
tree demo.
That's
And that's the first time ever an artist will create something and then walk away
very
and
cool.
say it's finished. So
one of the things you'll see, I'll change the size of the brush. So we're going into the add and subtract tool. So here this will actually allow you to add and subtract where you want. So just like this, I can go ahead and add. And let's just say that's not high enough for you. We can go ahead and raise it up, and you can go ahead and put in a little floating island. Let's hop back here and very quickly do some floating island. And there we go. So you can pretty much easily make stuff in the air if you want. You can go ahead and very easily connect that, but it's pretty cool to leave it floating. So we'll leave it floating in the background. I will go ahead and get rid of this one so it's not in our way. And we've got another guest.
Kim, I haven't seen you in where have you been?
Hi.
I thought you stopped working. We haven't seen you in 3 weeks. Where have you been?
Where have you been?
I guess I haven't been working.
So this is Kim.
Hi.
Kim is a designer on Project Spark. You may have seen her at E3 as well. So tell everybody what you're working on right now. Don't reveal too much.
Well, I put her on the spot.
Okay, tell them what you're working on right now that you can tell them about.
Okay. Well, I can't talk about Crossroads because we showed that at E3. So we're working on the latest and greatest with Crossroads and how we can make that even more of a fun narrative creation experience.
Hey, you got a green shirt. That is awesome. Kim has a green shirt.
Am I invisible?
You are
Very
a
cool.
headless bot.
That is so...
Oh, that is
Guys, she was
cool.
very expensive. We couldn't afford all of her, so we just had to pay for the head.
That prevents any chance of comments on that.
So tell everybody.
He
So tell
planned
everybody
that.
if they haven't seen Crossroads, what Crossroads is, real quick.
So Crossroads is sort of a choose-your-own-adventure way to create a game from scratch, and we came up with Crossroads intending it for our younger and less experienced creators, people who've never made a game before, as a way to get started and a way to play while they're doing it.
Cool. So you guys have probably seen some of Crossroads through E3, and we'll try and dig in there as well if we have some time. Anything else? We thank the community. Kim is definitely one of the people who've been keeping an eye on the community, and we opened up with a big thanks. But any other kind of stuff of support that you surprised you that we got?
Oh, just the amount of buzz about Spark at E3, it's overwhelming.
Sometimes we have to yell at Kim and tell her to get off Twitter and go get some rest because she just loves it.
Enameled Koi, if you're looking for me.
Yeah, I would spell that, but I can't.
No. All right. I have to run, but it was
Cool.
great to be a part of this.
Great, thank you, Kim. All right, so let's hop into one of our other tools here, the biome brush. So we already showed you rivers in the biome brush, and this is nature. So one of the cool things you may have seen with the nature brush is it's the ability to paint to paint life in your world. It's paint plus it's props, and props are the way that we put objects in the world. So very quickly here, based on the size of my my brush, I can go in, and actually I'm in the temperate woodlands one by accident. So let me go ahead and load up our temperate woodlands. There we go. Okay. So very quickly and easily, I can paint in the environment here, and I'm actually changed the water level. So that's one of the things. So let me go back in and fix the water level.
And actually, somebody was asking a question if you can create the water someplace else other than a single water level.
So we have a couple different ways to create the water. We haven't shown them all, so that's something we'll probably talk about a little bit more. We do have the ability to put in water objects. We have the ability to put in rivers, as you saw, that'll paint the water more of where you want. And then we have the ability to adjust the whole water level of the map. So you'll see there's some pretty good flexibility around what you can do. So here again, you'll see based on the size of my brush, I'm able to make smaller trees, just pop in with the brush. I've got little rocks that are showing up with little butterflies on them and things like that. So this is a great way to really, really quickly sort of fill in the world with vibrance and make it come alive. And one of the things that we did with the E3 demo is we made sure that when you actually hit the play button, because it's really important to us that you can play and edit and very easily go back and forth, that everything looked really cool and really enticing. So we actually have another person here you may recognize from our E3 demos, and we're going to put him on the spot for an impromptu demo maybe. But this is Bradley Reeb. He's a lead designer on Project Spark.
Hey there.
How's it going?
Good, good. Excited.
Glad you could drop by and we can put you on the spot and come up with something for you to do.
So Brad, here we are at this point, already derailed from what our E3 demo was. Schuber came in and did an amazing tree. And we've got some floating island stuff back here that people wanted to see.
Cool.
And then we've got our biome stuff going. But Bradley Reeves, he's known as our kind of resident brain expert. And he sort of is the guy who started the rock demo. Can you tell him maybe a little bit about the rock and how that happened?
So we were in London demoing for various Microsoft studios there, Rare and Lionhead, and we were in the Rare conference room, and we just got done doing our spiel. It was a pretty scripted thing, and normally I just brought up a nice piece of concept imagery and let the business guys talk business. But what we ended up doing instead was it was thrown out, hey, build us a game, and show us the brain. And so I just put in one line of code here, which is when we detect the player.
Okay, so they've got a request.
Okay.
I think you can pull this off. They want, as a homage to Sharknado, they want a rock shark.
A rock shark? Okay, well, let's see if we can do that. We'll do move towards. All right, so we put in the line, when detect the player, move towards, so that just causes them to follow us around.
So we've talked about this a little bit before, but for those who don't know, all of the objects in the world have what we call brains. And brains essentially allow you to use a super powerful visual programming language that is based off of Kodu, for those people that are familiar with it. This is sort of the 2.0. It's definitely more robust and more advanced. And it's pretty simple to get started. There's a when side and a do side. And you can put these things that we call tiles in both of the sides, and they give you different abilities and things like that. So what Brad is doing here is adding our fin. It's a makeshift fin, it looks like. I'll move over a little and give Brad some room. And what you can do with that is it's super powerful. And you can start from scratch. We talk about this in a very layer standpoint. So we really believe philosophically in a very layered design approach. We want everybody to be able to create as quickly and as rapidly and as deeply and as intensely as they want. So very quickly, Brad went in and he did what we called, programming from scratch, or putting in the brains from scratch, and he was able to make the rock follow him and put on a little makeshift fin on top. So he can do that. Some of the other things we'll probably show in a little bit too is you can go into an object that already has an existing brain and just remix some of those tiles, or you can actually grab what we call default brains from the brain gallery and do some cool stuff. So I think we need to see the rock in the water.
Water?
And a request is the rock shark should have some type of rocket.
A rocket?
Or some sort of jetpack or something along those lines.
So make the rock.
Okay.
Shark.
There's a lot of ways you could go.
There's a lot of opportunities around rock shark.
We'll do shoot.
Okay, so here Brad is stepping through the programming in the brain, and one of the cool things that you can do is he put in the shoot tile on the do side, and it's really simple to get started. Again, all you really need is shoot, and that'll work. So you could say A button shoot, and pretty much it'll shoot a fireball for you. But that's the default, and Brad doesn't settle for the default ever. Brantley here, he really is excited about being able to do some more stuff than just the default shoot. So what he's done is he's actually added an archer's arrow from the gallery. And that'll give you a whole bunch of different things that you can shoot at stuff. So let's see what the shark fish is going to do. The shark rock's going to do. And he is actually becoming a deadly trap. So you can set this up in your world, and he's chasing you now. And that's you're in trouble now.
It's going to get me.
This is Sharknado.
Oh, man, yeah, you're done.
So there's no recoil. Oh. So you can see super quickly he's made a arrow shooting rock shark. I don't think that's what people asked for, but that was cool.
We could scale up the arrow, make it a missile, have it explode when it hits you.
So there it is.
Possibilities are endless.
Cool. So let me go back and fill in our world here a little bit with some of the paint that we talked about. Cool. Thanks, Brad.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bradley.
So here you can see I can switch through the materials that I'm using to paint the world. And this is kind of a nice flower material. So we'll put this around our character here.
Flowers.
This is what we call scatter. So you can see here, it's actually got a cool bit of depth to it. And then I can switch over to another material. And I'm going to actually go ahead and increase the size of the brush again so we can do this a little faster. And this is more of kind of a grass-like material. Again, you'll notice it's wrapping around the sides, if I can get through the trees here. And it's actually going around the sides of this structure here. And this is, again, part of why we love the U-shaped hill, because it's really nice to show off the sides of the paint. So it's going to dynamically know when you're painting the ground, when you're painting the side of something, and also when you're painting the top of something. And it's going to change the material automatically based on how you do that. So if I here poke underneath into the tunnel, and I start to paint the top, you'll actually see there's a little bit of an overhang that's coming down from painting the tunnel. And again, all of that's automatic, and it just makes things look really good really quickly. So here's our little scene, and this is one of the cool moments we had at E3 because nobody could believe, and this guy is still shooting me. So let's get rid of him real quick.
Nice going.
Oh no.
Way to go, you know.
It's our first demo error. Mike, I need the mouse. I brought up the help tool, which actually brings you to some of our dynamic help sections. Sorry about that.
Good thing there wasn't anything horrible behind that, huh?
That's right.
We'd be looking for anybody looking to hire some community manager.
So while we were over on the internet browser, we apparently were killed by our vicious rock that Brad so kindly made. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to edit the rock really quick. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take some of the brains out. I'm in the fin right now. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the brains out that he did for the shoot, and we'll just leave our rock as somebody who follows us. But one of the really cool things that we did was we were able to jump right into the game, and we already had a pretty cool environment. So you could see here just walking around, we had some really interesting trees. Going through the back here with the cool waterfall we added, you can poke through and see some of the trees behind. So very quickly we were able to paint a quick a scene, and people were really pleasantly surprised about how quickly you're able to make a gaming world in an environment. So let's go ahead and continue painting a little bit. We showed you some of this already, but you can layer some of the paint, and you can go ahead and you can make a path on top of the grass and sort of punch that through. Now the next thing we started to show is what we call props. And some of the things with the prop that you saw here is we have a house here, and we can go ahead and we can grab the house from the prop bar, and we can move it around. We can also very quickly scale it, make it bigger. We can bring it down. We can rotate it around this way. We can go ahead and rotate it this way.
Time out, Henry. So that waterfall, I mean, come on. It's just the water's evaporating. I mean, can we just...
That happens. All right, so let's
I think we need to
derail
fix that.
here and let's fix the waterfall.
Let's fix
a
that.
little bit.
Come on.
So what we'll do here is we'll go into our brush again, and we'll change the shape, and we'll go back to a little circle pond here, and we'll give it a nice little pond here for it to fall into, and we'll dig in there. We'll make sure.
What would Brad Schuber say if he'd seen that?
He'd probably say it looks like it was requested on the fly and unexpected.
Oh, I don't think so.
So we'll go ahead and we'll do that. We'll put in our little spot for the waterfall. And then just to make Mike a little bit extra happy, we'll go into the prop gallery and go back to some of our effects. And then we'll add a little water splash into the effects. So if I scroll all the way over here, again, you can see this is just a sample of some of the effects we have. We can add a nice little large splash.
Screenshot all this as we release it.
And we can put that in there. We can put one of the splashes down, maybe another one. And then again, we can quickly test. And now, right behind us, I think I put them too low. So I can go ahead and fix that.
Yeah, that's about right.
Grab this, move it up a little bit, and then we can try it one more time, and if not, we've gone too far off script. Yes, the water is still too low. Alright, so we'll move on. But you can see here it's very quick and easy to build a waterfall. So here we have a house. And one of the cool things that we talked about and we showed with the creation of the mech is how you can actually combine things and do sort of a lot of impromptu stuff. So here I'm going to take a house, and one of the really cool things about the technology is it's very easy to actually put objects into each other and just sort of place them, and they'll still work. So you can go ahead and put this house, and now we've got a two-door house down, and we sort of made some of our own objects. So you can go ahead and blend those together and do stuff like that.
So do these houses have doors or what?
So there's ways to do doors. We haven't talked a ton about that. So this specific house is a prop object. We can do doors pretty easily by adding in a door object from our prop gallery. And the doors is actually a good example of what we can show. We can show something around power. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to see if we have our door in our E3 build. We may not have actually had our door in here. Let me go to the keyboard real quick and search for door. Alright, so we've got a couple different door options. So I can go ahead and I can put down a door in the world, and I can just put that in the world. And then I can go ahead and test, and now we have a door.
It's always important to test doors.
And then you can see that the door automatically just works. When it detects me, the door swings open. When I walk away, the door closes. So one of the cool things about the programming is the door actually has a power state. So you can go into here, and I can actually edit its properties. And this is one of the cool things with the menu. And I can go into the brain, and I can say power on or off, and I can change the way the door functions by doing that. I can also go into the brain, and I can program the door myself. So here, it's just got detect player, power on.
Doors have brains.
When not detect player, power off. And that door, because it's an animated prop, just works like that. Now, when we start thinking about interiors, you can go into the gallery, you can start constructing walls, you can start constructing things all around it, and you can very easily walk in there. One of the things that we can do very quickly is I'll go to the add brush that you saw before, and I'll change the shape, and we can go ahead and just start blocking in around the door. Again, I'm going to do this really quick just to give you guys an example. And then I can go ahead and say test. And when I walk through here, I've sort of made my own makeshift cave or interior. I can walk in here. You can see the camera works. It pushes in. Everything's cool. Now let's just say, for example, it might have actually been dark in there. One of the things you can do is, one of the props we have is a light. So you could actually go ahead and put a light down in there. And that's one of the other things you can add if you were building a cave and wanted to do lights, or if you wanted to do little torches and stuff like that, you could also put some torches in there. So I'm going to go ahead and sneak inside, and I'm going to go ahead and drop a light right in here, and then I'm going to go back to test and run our little guy back around. And come here, and now you can see
how you play Project Spark is
now
you'll put something in, and then you'll test it, and then you'll edit it, and then you'll play it again until you get it right.
So there you go. So let's go back to some of the stuff that we did originally with the brain and the rock, and let's talk about a little bit more around the rock and what it can do. So we'll go into the brain, and you can see here we can detect player and we can move towards. And Brad showed you some of the cool stuff where the rock is able to shoot, and very quickly you can turn it into a turret. But we can do some cool stuff too, is when it sees you, very quickly adding a line, it can jump. The other thing that we showed before is you can go into its properties, and you can go ahead and adjust the physics. So right now the rock is fixed. I can make the rock tumbling, and I know you guys have seen this before, but very quickly I can run over to where the rock is.
Where is the rock?
He's over here on this side. I can move my guy, and I can actually test from where I'm working, so I can do a bunch of different things. And he still has his little fin, and now when he sees me, he is jumping really high.
He's very excited.
So So you can see the rock will actually start to jump. Now, one of the really cool things that Brad did was he made the rock an enemy. And it's very easy to be able to do stuff like that. So let's find a nice little spot here, maybe we haven't done a ton with, and let's throw down our goblin. So very quickly and easily, we can just put a goblin in the world. And we can go in and let's go grab our character. Go over here. And let's just zip him over here to the goblin. One of the cool things you see here is the left trigger actually snaps things right down to the world. So it's really easy to move things around and snap them to the world. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go in the goblin brain. And I'm just going to very quickly go into a little bit of how some of the programming works. Before I do that, we got another guest. This is Jesse. Jesse is a lead producer on Project Spark.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hey,
So tell everybody what you're up to right now.
what are you working on right this second, Jeff?
So I'm
Super
Jesse.
secret. Super secret.
I make U-shaped tails.
Oh.
I'm a producer. I produce coffee and occasionally video games.
Sometimes he gets dinner.
Yeah, right.
That's true.
Right now we're upstairs game jamming, having
That's
a little
true.
fun, making some games.
Tell us how often, where the time is and how are we doing?
We're doing good. We got a lot of exciting things. We're making an amazing game with no edges. So we're making it for you guys, so we get a lot of great ideas. We continue to reevaluate every day. So I think we're doing fantastic, heading for something really exciting.
Mike Jacob just said you have to get back to work, dude.
Nope.
So Jesse's got to get back. All right, thanks, Jesse. Okay, so here I'm back in the goblin's brain. So again, very simply, you can see stuff like when on this side we've got a random number that we're rolling, and then that random number is actually determining whether the goblin's going to attack you with a wind up and a light attack, or he's going to attack you with a different attack. So let's take this out really quick because we only need one. And let's say that when he sees me, I actually don't want him to attack me, but I want him to do something funny or friendly. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go into here, appearance and emote, and that actually goes into a bank of a couple different animations. So let's have him cheer. So now, instead of attacking me on sight, he's actually going to cheer when he sees me. Whoa! So just by making a couple of changes like that, we were able to almost entirely change this character and his behavior. One of the cool things you might have saw was the ability to dance. So let's go in here and let's take this goblin and we're going to go back into his brain and we're going to go into the brain gallery. So this is the other layer that I talked about that we can do as we can put in some default brains. So here you can see, again, for E3 we have sort of a selection of default brains. And one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to put the troll party brain into this character. So by doing that, now it's going to roll a random number, and then it's going to call a bunch of different emotes: a dance, a cheer, a greet. I like greet, but everybody on the team actually tends to prefer love. So let's go to love real quick. That also had music built in, so when you get close, it's going to do some music. But let's do something a little bit more fun. So we'll go in here to edit, and we'll clone this guy a couple times. And we'll get like a little dance party going. And again, one button, just hit start and go to test, or hit the little play button. And just like that, you're going between edit and play. And these guys are dancing and having a little troll dance party. Make the goblin explode when he sees you. Okay, we can make the goblin explode when he sees us. Not as friendly as a dance party.
And somebody else was asking, like, can you adjust the range where a NPC detects you?
You can, yes. So actually, one of the things you can do is you can go into edit here. You can go into properties, and then you can go into sensors. And I won't dive too deep into this, but you can see all of the sensor ranges, and you can pull those objects around and change the range of all those things. So that gives you a ton of flexibility in what you can do there. All right, so let's go into this guy's brain. And when he sees the player, so this is pretty simple. So we'll take this out, so we don't have him dancing. We'll take these things out, but we like the music, so we'll keep that in. So when he sees the player, we'll do this again really simple. I'm going to go ahead and we'll go a little further here. So I'm going to create an effect. So when he sees me, I'm going to go to our gallery again. So we'll pick something not too over the top. Let's do a large poof. So a little bit cartoony, but we'll do that. So we'll play the large poof, and then let me insert another line here. And then it'll go over here, and then we can say, back up, we can say destroy. So when he sees us, he will create a large poof and then destroy. And I'll hop into test, and it's only the one goblin on the end that I changed this in. I can copy the and he just puffed away. So the destroy.
I didn't see the.
Didn't see the large puff, so it was too quick. So let's go ahead and go back in here. And what we can do on this side is we can add a timer, and we can make sure that he's not destroying before the puff plays. And we can go ahead and add a number, and we can say something like 2 seconds, which might be a little bit long, but we can go ahead and we can customize that number, but let's say 2 seconds for now. And we can go ahead, and when he sees us, there's the puff, and then 2 seconds later, destroy. So you can work on that timing. You can put the effect actually in the destroy. You can kill him, which plays a different effect and has a little skull that floats up, and do a bunch of different cool stuff with that. So we've got Dancing Goblin, we've got goblins that do a bunch of different brains. Let me jump in here to the character again and show you some of the power around how quickly and easily we can remix and change stuff. So some people have asked about some UI elements. So you can see here when. Now if when is blank, that actually means always. So when you see always, that means this is always going to fire. So it's showing the meter, and it's showing the health, and it's showing in the top left. Well, let's go in here, and we can do stuff like let's change the color. So we can make it orange. And instead of the top left, we actually want the meter in the bottom left. That's really easy to change. Let's actually go back in here while we're doing that, and let's go into the cameras. So one of the really cool things you saw was the follow camera. We can switch over to a first-person camera, and now we've got a completely different feeling character. He's got a health bar in the bottom left, and we're now in first-person walking around. And you can see it's very easy from here to be able to do a bunch of different things. So now I can go into here, I can add a little line, I can say always, I can do things like display, and again, this is one of the ways to do this. I know some people talk about screen space reticle, some people talk about 3D, actual like 3D space reticle, so there's a lot of different ways to do this, but I can go ahead and I can say display, I can go into my gallery again, I can really quickly in here do a quick search for my icons, and I've got a crosshair, and then I can say go ahead and display that right in the middle of the screen, and then I can do some stuff too, like I can continue to modify the size of that. I can go in here and I can still change the color of this, so I can make it blue, and then just like that we have a blue reticle on display in the center of the screen. And as I said, this character automatically comes with some of these brains, and now I can shoot a fireball at the center screen and take out our little band of goblins.
It's good stuff.
So that's a lot of what we showed here in the actual create mode for our E3 demo. I can jump through a little bit of the Crossroads stuff, but we're actually running a bit tight on time. So I think I'm going to go through some of the levels that we built.
I think it would be great to show off some of the UGC and maybe talk a little bit about how they were made and where they came about.
Absolutely. So let's go into one of the levels here that you guys have probably seen before. This we call Suspension. And it's a pretty cool, it's a great example of a 2D side scroller. It's got a lot of tone, it's got a lot of mood to it, and it's really a quick example of how we can do some physics puzzles and things like that too. So one of the guys on our team, we invited him down, we haven't seen him yet. Jared, he was actually an intern on the project, and one of the things he wanted to do was to do a 2D side scroller. So this was one of the first things that he did, and it's really cool because from time to time, you know, we bring a lot of different people in. We just had a team of high school students come in several days ago, and it was amazing. This team of girls made this amazing squirrel boat racing game. They put them on those little rafts.
Oh, those squirrels.
And it was awesome. You could actually play and race down these little rapids. We had just a bunch of cool stuff. So we've done some things with partner programs like that, and one of the really cool things is the designer that worked on this, Jared, he's actually a full-time designer on the game now.
Yeah.
And you guys have probably seen him demo at E3.
So make something cool enough, who knows where you'll end up.
That's right. So here you can see I'm walking around, and I'm triggering some of the traps and some of the things that you can do here. This object here has power, it animates and spins, so it's sort of this power wheel, and then you know, chasing this character down. And you can see there's some cool things around the jumping, and here's Jared. He heard us talking about him.
Yeah,
I'm watching.
So here he is.
Speak of the devil.
Cool. So everybody, this is Jared.
Hello, hello.
Jared is a designer on Project Spark, who's responsible for Suspension. So you'd be perfect to start remixing it.
Sure, sure. What do you guys want to see?
So first of all, let's change the background and lighten the level up a little bit.
Okay.
And then anything else you can think of cool. Maybe show people.
Let's see what people say. You know, maybe.
Yeah. Maybe show people how easy and quick it is to change things like jump height and character movement speed. Because we all know when we do a platformer, spacing and level design around the spacing is really integral. And it's such a key part of the platforming. So one of the things that's a goal for us is to make a really strong iteration loop. So you can try something, test it, try something, test it. And that's really something we pride ourselves on for Spark. So here you can very easily go into the character properties and very quickly tune the jump. So go ahead, Jared, and walk us through what you're doing.
Can I make
here.
this, is the keyboard on this? Can we make him like have a 5 in-air jumps or something crazy like that? Like something high, like 5 or something. So I just gave him a really high jump height and a lot of jumps in the air, so now I can kind of jump anywhere in this level once I go back and play here.
And just by going into the world settings, we very quickly swapped out the background.
But it looks like I got the camera set up so it doesn't follow me when I'm jumping. So you can see there, though, I've got this crazy high jump height. I can jump over the windmill or something like that.
And very quickly, I mean, it looks like a radically different level.
Yeah,
too.
it's a
I
completely
think
different
that's one of the
game.
things that's amazing. So they want you to play in first person.
All right.
Well, that might be tough.
He made the level, though. He should
Well, yeah,
I'll
you made
just
it.
change the camera on my
So I can
character
change
here.
the camera.
Does that happen to have designers who make games and they can't complete the levels? They're too tough. Isn't that a big theory?
And you're going to have to take out his side-scrolling camera control to really
Why don't we
do
just
it.
we'll just swap the brain on the character then? We'll just go to a completely different brain.
Okay, that
rather
sounds
than
like a
trying
good
to
idea.
edit this one.
So we'll go to the first-person shooter brain in the gallery really quick. And this is actually a great example of how you can remix something, plug it into something else, and here you are running around in the first-person shooter brain. And there's the door with power that just opens. And there's the windmill with power that just animates, and some cool birds. Hey, you know what? You don't really see that.
Still got that
inside.
super high jump here.
Whoa.
And
Whoa.
you guys were playing this before, so you saw this guy tries to run away from me and stuff like that. But now that I have a gun, I can just shoot him.
I've always wanted to do that.
So yeah, it's a completely new game in just a few seconds.
You can go completely off the beaten trail here, go into the areas of the level that weren't really intended.
And probably not.
Yeah. Probably find something bad
Probably,
that
yes.
we don't want to show.
I keep hitting my head on the ceiling here when I jump because I still have that super high
uber
jump.
jump.
Yeah,
I'm making
he-
everybody sick on the
So that was a good comment that went by. So yes, he's actually hacking his own level here. Oh no. Cool. So tell us some of the stuff you can tell us that you're working. Can you tell us anything you're working on right now?
What am I working on?
I don't think you can.
Yeah, I think pretty much everything I'm
No,
working on
yeah.
has not been announced yet.
That's
so.
been happening a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Cool though. Well, glad I could
Cool.
show you a little bit about this level.
Thanks for coming by. Perfect timing.
Thanks, Jared.
Cool. So let's hop in maybe to one more UGC, and then we'll have Mike wrap us up.
Yeah, sounds good.
So I think you guys, so you've seen Swan Song. Swan Song is a turn-based game that was made by a guy on our team who just loves turn-based combat games. Blackjack's actually a game that I made. The creator's some cool stuff that you can do around having some of the land bridge stuff that you guys have seen at E3. I don't know if you've seen Retro, and this is an interesting one too because this is another level that Jared worked on.
Jared gets all the credit.
So you can see here, this is a cool classic twin stick shooter. And one of the really cool things is, we're actually bending the lines as you move the ship through it. And it's really cool.
Now, can you go in and edit and show people what this kind of looks like when?
So you can. This one's a lot more technical in the brain. And Jared made it so he'd be a lot better to jump in. But you can see we actually have here what we call logic cubes. So the really convenient thing about a logic cube is when you put it in your level, the first thing I need to do here is get out of the black background. So let's put something in here so we can see. So one of the really cool things around the logic cube is you can put it in your level and make it completely invisible. So it can house a lot of your brains, it can house UI elements for you, or a lot of other different things. And you can just go ahead and put those in there to do a lot of powerful stuff. So I'm not sure at a really quick glance what he did to make all of the controls, which thing it's in. Maybe it's in this giant one right here. So here's some of the stuff he did.
Right.
So here he's using some of his booleans and some of the things to determine true and false states, and then saying when these variables equal these certain things, he's triggering different things. He's saying that when this page is entered, that he's spawning different things. And again, what he's doing here is he's naming a variable that calls to something else and has a bunch of other complex codes. You can see here I can switch pages in the code, and he's got things like his UI, his interface in the third page of the brain, a bunch of stuff around spawning, it looks like, in the second. And you can go ahead and you can name the page as well. So you can go in and do a bunch of different things.
And we know a
like
lot
that.
of people are really interested in the brains, and it's something that can get really complex. It could be an entire stream itself, and maybe we'll do that if there's interest in it. But definitely there's a lot of depth. You can really spend days in there making really cool stuff.
So another cool twin stick thing that you guys have seen before is what we call Gladiator. So this one's got a little cutscene in it, and this goblin has a bunch of things he says to you, and I can move around, and I can go ahead and I can shoot in all different directions here, and the enemy waves get faster and faster, and you can actually, the longer you stay alive, you can get like triple shots on the fireballs. You can see here we've got scoring and a timer here that you can compete on, and a bunch of cool stuff. But one of the other things that I want to show you is, you know, a lot of the things that you saw in the world settings are super powerful. So you saw here that I can change the world, the water size, but I can also do things like change the backdrop entirely, make the level look very different here. I can go to morning clear, change the brightness. I may not have the best angle here, so I can actually zoom out a little bit into the level, but I can change the lighting that was done to make this level. I can actually change the sun side. I can change where all the shadows are pointing, so you can see there's just a ton of power really quick in going into these.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of stuff you can really do, and it's very cool.
Cool. So that's pretty much everything.
Black and white, but too late.
Oh, too late.
Way to go. But
so while you wrap us up, I'll do black and white in there.
Okay, yeah, great. So, you know, we'd love to do this more if you guys think this was helpful. We want to share as much as we can about Project Spark. This is really a game about the community. Like you guys need to let us know what you want to see, what you want to create, and we can try to make it happen. It's really, the limit is really your imagination. We know one of the biggest questions that I get as the community manager, obviously, is beta. You know, where are the beta keys? When's beta coming? So we do have not all the news that I know you're going to want, but Project Spark is going to be at Gamescom, which is the really huge convention that happens in Germany every year, and that's coming up in what, 2 weeks? What is? I don't even. It's creeping up on us.
Yeah,
the 21st.
It's 2 weeks away.
So that's coming up. So at Gamescom, we've got some good stuff. What you're seeing here is the E3 build that we showed. We're going to be showing a brand new build of Project Spark that is going to have some new features that we have not even revealed. And I think you guys are going to be super excited about it, and I can't even get hints about it because Henry will get really yell at me. But in addition to that, we're going to be able to give you guys the answer that we know you're looking at. At Gamescom, we will announce when beta will start. And when we say it will start, we're going to start small, so I don't want all 300,000 people that are signed up to immediately expect to get in. It'll start small, but we do believe that everybody who signs up will eventually get into beta, maybe not right away, but over time. And we're going to announce the start date of that at Gamescom, so make sure you tune in there. We're going to have a lot of other great features we're going to be showing off, some really cool stuff, and just follow us on Facebook and Twitter to get the latest updates, and we'll let you know about it.
We've got a ton of other stuff we can't wait to share. And I think like Mike said, we were overwhelmed with all of the responses. We love seeing so many people excited about the beta. Tell your friends, get more people in that beta. We have tons of people already, but we're really excited for it ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a couple quick plugs. There's a couple communities out there that have been really great, and these folks are actually helping us out in a lot of ways. Some of them are even moderators in this chat right now. If you go to the Reddit community, the Project Spark subreddit, it's our Project Spark game. And also there's a good Project Spark forum, and it's project-spark.org. And that forums has a lot of great folks there. The developer's always in there, and we really look to the community to help us. We need your help in making this game, make sure we make it well, and we love to interact with you guys. So please check us out. And
cool. Thanks again, everybody. I hope this was fun and it was helpful. And again, we love doing this kind of casual hangout type of style. If you guys have some other suggestions, we'd love to hear it. But Mike and the whole crew here, we're really, really passionate about working with you guys and getting your feedback and making this amazing.
So thanks, and let us know your suggestions. Maybe we can do this again in a week or so.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.